Hello everyone, my name is Camille Baker. I am recording this from London. Sadly, Lucy, my colleague, was meant to be there today, but she's come down with quite a sudden and chronic illness at the moment, so she was unable to join us today, or join you today, sadly, so I'm here in her place. I'm going to be talking about the Wear Sustain project, which you were discussing a little bit more at length in other ways today, I'm told. So I'm just going to go over some of the things that are some of the projects that we have, a little bit about our open call, and then if there's time later on in the program and if we're able to do it via Skype, we will take some questions. I will take some questions if possible. All right. So a little bit about the larger picture that we're a part of. So the Wear Sustain project is part of the STARTS initiative, which is an umbrella in the European Commission for projects that are supporting innovation at the nexus of science, technology, and the arts. And so there are 3 projects currently running that are under this STARTS umbrella, and those are the Vertigo project and the Wear Sustain and the STARTS Prize. And as you can see from this screen, STARTS is an initiative for the inclusion of artists in innovation projects funded by the research program the Horizon 2020. And it's to encourage artists or collaboration for artists in research projects as part of the STARTS residencies that will be in technology and science institutions and working with scientists and technologists. So I won't go into too much detail. You can look into this more on your own. Another project under STARTS is Vertigo, and it's organizing 45 artistic residencies over 3 years that will work in tech and research institutes. More on Vertigo, look them up. And the STARTS Prize, which is run by the Ars Electronica, and it has some calls coming up as well. And again, this is part of the umbrella of STARTS. And these are the the projects that are under this umbrella. So more on Wear Sustain, and this is an acronym that stands for Wearable Technologists Engage with Artists for Responsible Innovation. And we are 7 in the consortium, and we are under the STARTS umbrella, as I said. So we are Blumina from Italy, DSLL, which is Digital Spaces Living Labs in Bulgaria, Data Scouts that are in Brussels, IMEC, which is also in Brussels, the University for the Arts, Berlin, University for the Creative Arts, Epsom in the UK, and Queen Mary University of London in the UK. And our aims and objectives are to develop and sustain a European network of stakeholders and hubs so that anybody who's interested in the boundaries of design and development around sustainable and ethical wearables and e-textiles. So this is quite a large number of different fields that would be interested in this. And it's to encourage cross-border and cross-sector collaboration. So between, in particular, artists and technologists or engineers, but some variations of that as well, and to focus on designing new innovations in this space. To develop a framework within which future prototypes can be made. So from this project, we will create a sustainability toolkit, which will give tips and resources, steps about different kinds of materials and service providers, manufacturers, collaborators, just a wide range of different resources and techniques and tools to develop new ethical and sustainable wearable technology and e-textiles after the end of this project. And as part of the project, of course, we see ourselves as leading the emergence of new approaches to this design, production, and manufacturing and business models by funding particular types of projects that should be leading the way in this area. And ultimately, to be making citizens, entrepreneurs, stakeholders, industry more aware of these issues. Our concerns are focused on ethics and sustainability, and sustainability we'll get to, but in terms of the issues around data, it's data collection, data privacy, issues of ownership and control and the processing of the data, and who owns it and who's using it and who's selling it, as well as the, of course, combined negative environmental economic impact or lack of sustainable impact of electronic textiles and fashion industries today. So we're trying to tackle these issues as well as other issues around poor labor practices and conditions within manufacturing, mineral sourcing, and the supply chain of these different industries. So these are our main objectives here. So I've just sort of outlined them, but here's a nice sort of visual where through our innovation funding number of projects, creating a large network, doing events like this to do some forms of knowledge exchange, and then trying to give back around the issues around ethics and sustainability. And so, yeah, this is part of what we're doing today, dealing with the issues, but also going over these different aspects. And so these are just images that we have from our other events and things that we've been doing and how we're capturing the different information from our various events and from people like you about what's necessary to go forward. This page shows almost like a manifesto that came from Professor Martin Charter and Scott Keeler, who are in a part of the Center for Sustainable Design at UCA, where I'm based. And this is what they've said. Sustainable development is critical for the creative industry. So they said, we consume Earth's natural resources to create and make. We have an impact on our environment and an impact upon those who have played a part in producing and supplying the raw materials that we use each and every day. Artists, designers, creators, and makers have a measurable ecological footprint like any other sector and can reduce that footprint through choices made in their work. For disciplines that require the transformation of materials into artifacts, jewelry, ceramics, product design, as well as architecture, interior, and connection to the Earth's natural resources is relatively clear. They go on to say artists and creatives are communicators and can highlight the environmental, social, and economic themes in our work. They will always be at the center of culture, and culture informs the way society relates to our environment and treats people. As artists, designers, creators, and makers, we can play an important role in informing and inspiring others to see the world differently and act more sustainably. Think about product life cycles. Last year, 1.6 billion mobile phones were manufactured with an average replacement of old for new models by consumers of 18 months. We all use mobile phones. They have become an almost indispensable part of our lives, but their ubiquity and rate of innovation and development have led to significant environmental and social impacts. So the point here is that if you think about mobile phones as part of the electronics industry, but now we're combining the fashion industry and industrial textiles together with electronics industry and bringing them together in many ways, these are significant things to consider. So there's a large impact from these industries. So part of the project is to develop a network, and you can go on our network to see who's involved. But this network is all these different mentors, hubs, experts, service providers, manufacturers, and the list goes on, artists and designers, engineers who will want to be part of this change toward a better future and better ways of designing, developing, sourcing, and manufacturing, and then putting out into the consumer better products for the future. So I'm going to show you some of the projects very quickly from Open Call 1. Not all of them are as ethical and sustainable as we would like them to be, but by the end of the project they will be much more in that direction. So this one's a smart headphone communicator. AirLeave is an environmentally friendly mask that produces air purification in a socially acceptable manner. Breathe is a wearable and smart garment collection to aid people with proper breathing during yoga practice and everyday life. Bria is a capsule collection of cellulose-based garments which can be dissolved in chemical solutions and then recycled into new fibers. Closed Loop collection focused on afterlife electronic garments and potential recyclability and its business services behind this. Constructing connectivity, an engaging, creative, and interactive rehabilitation platform for patients suffering from stroke and related physical and mental debilitation. iBreathe is a digital health solution to help people cope with stress in real time and detecting prolonged phases of shallow breathing. The Eye is a camera connected wirelessly to the smartphone for blind and visually impaired people. Kobakant, this is part of I can't, maybe some of you know German, I don't know German, so I can't pronounce this, but Kobakant's project here is an electronic textile tailor shop where anybody can place an order for a custom-made wearable technology garment and accessory. Meditation Lab Experimenter Kit is a tool set for monitoring, enhancing, and sharing meditation experiences. Mimu gloves are wireless sensor-enabled gloves for creating and performing music through movement and gesture. Mycotex is integrating technology in fully biodegradable textile, which allows composting the material after using and collecting and remaining electronics for recycling. Quietude is a context for meaningful experiences for deaf women, so it's jewelry and accessories that enhance the experience of the sound-oriented world. RideQ, wearable horsebacking riding instructor with interactive real-time feedback. SenseWear is a collection of garments as sensory therapies to help people with sensory sensitivity like autism to enjoy life. Soulmaker is a platform creating personalized shoes at the end of life. This shoe is sent back and the materials and sensors are to be recycled up to 20 times. Textile Reflexes is flexible textile that of squares of post-consumer textile waste which can move and respond to each other, creating expanding and contracting surface. When connected to the internet, they are robotic textiles, part of the Internet of Things. And the Anthropocene Project is using smart belt and location-aware alternate reality game to raise awareness about data collection and personal privacy, as well as a human impact on the environment. Wearflex is a smart shirt made from fully recyclable materials with a flexible screen that shows smartphone notifications. WISP is a wearable that collects women's biodata to help her understand more about herself and to explore the erogenous zones on her body and thus improving her intimate sensations. The Zishi project is a smart garment for shoulder pain prevention and rehabilitation that supports shoulder motor function or control and trunk posture training by monitoring compensatory movements and synchronously providing feedback. So that's the projects, and part of what we provide for the projects is mentoring support services. So we, through our network and the online ecosystem, we facilitate the cross-border interdisciplinary collaboration. We enable the artists and technologists to work with others, other innovators, mentors, and service providers in industry and across Europe, and really help them connect to various sources and share the information. So these are the various areas that we are assisting. Mentors work with the teams. They are there's a main mentor and then there's supplementary mentors. Mentors are responsible to advise and practically support the selected teams over the time of their project in their fields of expertise. And there are supplementary mentors that can be part of the team, but they aren't there for the whole life of the project. Hubs are local ambassador centers and form crucial structure and the backbone of the WEAR ecosystem, and during the WEAR project and beyond. So they're they're hopefully going to carry the project beyond the end of the project next year. They come from different shapes and sizes, can be described in different ways: fab labs, design centers, maker centers, universities, incubators, accelerators. And as part of one of our goals, as I mentioned earlier, we're creating this ethics and sustainability toolkit, and we're getting the data from our teams, from our mentors, from our experts, from our hubs, and this will be aimed at future projects and future teams to help them based on what has come before and help them to get to the next level and to reach the industry and other stakeholders. So for Open Call 2, we're focusing even more heavily on the ethics and sustainability dimension. As you saw, only maybe a third to half of the projects in the first round really address these issues. So we're going to be focused at the much more around in the Call 2. So the scope is wearables and e-textiles worn on the body that may or may not collect body data and or data about the environment, and addresses ethics, sustainability issues within the product life cycle. So we are looking for teams that are hopefully already formed or in the development of being formed between artists and designers, and are somehow interdisciplinary. So not everybody has the same skill set. That's what we're looking for. Teams must include one collaborator from the arts or design sectors, one collaborator from ICT or tech engineering, and you can have at least one other co-applicant. And if you get selected, you need to register as a legal entity or a small company or a collective or some legal entity in your country, and must be from one of the 28 countries in the European Union, but also can have someone on the team who's from an associated non-EU country. We expect the projects to be further than just conceived. We want projects that have already developed at least a first proof of concept prototype. So this is called Technology Readiness Level 3 according to the European Commission. So it's not the basic level, it's a little bit further along, and there's been some basic alpha testing or some basic prototyping. Each project team will receive 50,000 K, 25 at the start, 15 after midterm evaluation. These dates are based on the current cohort, but so they'll shift for new applicants or new selected teams. 10K after the final evaluation. And so teams can use this in different ways. So it can be spent on their development or their salary, but they also are asked to use 15K or between 10 and 15 to use for innovation support for their mentors and hubs. I'll briefly go over here the call themes. Now, of course, we expect everyone to go to the website and look at these as well, but I'll just cover what the far left slide really. We've got 4 themes, and the first 2 themes have sub-themes. So the first theme is environmental sustainability, and the first category is to do with use, reuse, or waste. And you can see on the far right some of the concerns that we're looking for in the projects. In the second subcategory, it's around batteries, energy sources, and generation. So how to use batteries or change batteries or innovate. The third subcategory is about sourcing of materials and the whole life cycle of the product development. The category 2 is ethics, and it's got 2 subcategories: data collection and privacy issues. Again, we've talked about that we have a challenge here, and then we have what kinds of projects we're looking for. And then ethics is number 2, or subcategory B, is really about making sure that the projects address issues around workplace and social issues, human rights, etc. So that's that. And then the third category is about the body physiology and somatics. So the impact that the wearable also has on the body, which is a secondary concern, because it's not only affecting the environment, but it's affecting the wearer. And the fourth is an open category, but must in some way address sustainability and ethics concerns as part of the larger project. So you can have a more not quite addressing these, but you really have to address those two areas in some capacity. So we're not wanting your project, if it has no interest in ethics and sustainability, we don't want you to try to plug in your project idea to something that doesn't fit. We want this to work for you and for the outcome of more ethical and sustainable wearable tech. So we're not just a funding agency for this. We want really serious thought and serious consideration to these areas. So that's all there is for now, and definitely get in touch, and if there is possibility for me to take Skype questions later, I will. Otherwise, you can send questions to info@wearsustain.eu. Also see us on the web. We have an FAQ on our website, so do look at that when looking at applying. And we have a lot of detailed information on our website, so do look very carefully before asking or sending us an email, because you will find probably your questions are answered there. We also have numerous webinars as well, so please also look at those. Again, we've answered a lot of these questions already, so do make sure you've checked those first. But if we can take some questions, I will. Thank you very much.